Hi, good morning. So today's video I'm going to be creating some orgonite pieces, 5 pyramids, a coaster, and some bangles. Here is an example of one of the pyramids. It has a star and a moon on it. It has a gold cap on the top. It has coils in it, if you can see the coils, I hope you can, wrapped around the piece of quartz in the center. I love you. It has a glow in the dark aspect to it. Put a lot of time and energy into these things, these pieces, and I hope you enjoy it. There's one of the pyramids. Here is a personal coaster. It has a slight glow in the dark aspect, but it also has the coils and all the energetic parts of the device. And here's an example of one of the bangles. You know, and it's all just for fun, experimentation, and having a great time. Different variety, size of pyramids. Here's a little guy. Same thing, has a gold capstone, and lots of brass and quartz and amethyst, and all kinds of good pieces in it. So thank you for joining me on my journey, and I hope you enjoy this video. Appreciate you stopping by. There's an example of the pyramids in the sun and some of the mix getting ready, dry material. So today I'm preparing the dry materials for the earth pipes that I'm making. I'm making 6 earth pipes. So far what I have in here is some of the driveway sand and gravel from outside of my house. There is also red clay from the quartz from Arkansas that I use. You can see particles of the red clay there. There is Himalayan pink salt. There's diatomaceous earth. There's let me read my list. Right. Powdered eggshells. I took about half a cup of eggshells, powdered that, and put that in there. Right. I said Himalayan pink salt. Charcoal. There's organic coconut husk charcoal in there. And now what I have on top, the gray with the brown stuff, is fine metal particles, iron filings from brake linings. So it has the iron filings from the brake liners, and it also probably has rust and asbestos. So all of these things will combine into a harmonious product. I'm also going to add a few more things once I have this all mixed together, and this is going to go into the resin and mix that all together, get it nice and moist in with the resin, and then I will be inserting other materials as I go. Alright, so here I have a bucket with my base mix, which I'll go over the short list of that in just a moment. Because I made an overabundance on that base mix, I'm now going to make a more concentrated mix for my earth pipe project, my etheric earth pipe project. So here's the base mix that I took some out of the big bucket, and I'm going to add at least 1 more, maybe 2 more jiggers of brass shavings, key shavings. I have amethyst. I'm going to add small chunks of amethyst into this, and maybe a few large chunks into the pipe. I'm going to add, this is selenite, which is a ground powder. I'm going to add this directly in here. I'm going to add the another thing of the metal shavings. This is frankincense, turquoise. I'm going to add 1 piece or 2 per tube. I'm not going to add that in here. Same with the local quartz. This is a local quartz, comes from 5 or 10 miles away from where I am, and then a few 1 or 2 pieces of silver filings into each tube. I'm not going to add these 2 into the bucket, but the fine powders of those guys and some more diatomaceous earth, at least 2 scoops, maybe 3, into the mix here, and then I will continue on. Alright, so now here what I have just added is the fine powder that comes off of my cabochon machine, which currently has lapis lazuli, amethyst, and a couple of other type of stones that I'm not totally sure of. One is like granite-like material, red and quartzish. So I'm going to mix that up. That's, like I said, it's a fine powder. It's just chunky right now. It just breaks so easily. And I'll grind that in. And then in this container, what I have is the scale from out of my water distiller machine. So this is all the stuff that's in the municipal water system. And I'm going to add this into the mix. Maybe not all of it, but a good portion of it. There you go, something like that. And I'll save the rest for another batch. So that's where I am at this point. So then there's that all mixed together. Hi, so I also wanted to include the idea that I installed a few scoops of plaster into the dry mix on the previous project. So that's also in on this dry mix also. Alright, so hello there. Today I'm going to be making 5 pyramids, or at least over the next couple of days. This has taken me about 2 weeks to set up my patterns here. I have 3 bangles which have wire in them, twisted copper wire, that I'm going to install inside each one of these. Each pyramid is set up with coils of wire, coils of copper in different layers. Each pyramid has a different amount of wires, just out of randomness. Each one will get a piece of quartz that has a double copper wire twisted around it, and then on each one of those it's going to have a gold leaf on the tip. So the tip of this one has already had some gold leaf applied. As you can see, it's not applied as intensely as I would like, but what I feel is that what I will do is I will pour some clear resin down into the tip of the pyramid, and then I will install the gold tipped piece of quartz into the tip, and when the gold leaf enters the resin, it should get applied much more closely to the tip of the piece of quartz. So we have that, and as I said, I have all these coils which will get installed as I apply the layers. I'm just showing you these as they are. I have Tree of Life and Love and Heart and Moon and fleur-de-lis to go into the sides. Hopefully we'll be able to see those. This is going to be partly clear, partly black night, and partly glow-in-the-dark resin in some of these. And at the base, on the bottom surface, we'll get this round coil, round copper coil. I think this is a Ronin. I forget what pattern this is. And then also on the bottom, it will receive each one of these in this location here. Each pyramid has that, and then also all of these for each pyramid. It gets a copper coil and some decorative pieces. Each one will get the shungite, and it has a natural local material there. And then I'm also going to install these into this. I'm using this coffee lid as a mold, and what this is going to be like a hot plate or a coaster to set your drinks down upon and receive the good energy from that. And it has a couple of coils, and the other piece of quartz here, this little guy that's wrapped and has a gold leaf tip, is going to go into this mold, and some amethyst and citrine and the basic mix that I have. So here we have that, and I'll get to installing the layers and we'll see how that goes. Thank you for joining me on this journey. So here we have the first layer of clear in the pyramids and the other one. Okay, so here excuse me, is the first layer, and in the first layer of clear resin, what I have done is I have put the points all down, and I have sprinkled some of the brass key shavings into the mix. So some of that will filter down into the tip, hopefully not to overpower it. I only put enough in there to give it a little glittery enhancement. So now these have cured enough. I have a layer on this. Oh wow, look at all that. That's the brass key shavings in that one. There's a clear layer in there of resin at this point. So then I'm going to do that again. I'm going to do clear resin in these guys, but then I'm going to put some amethyst in there, so then we have a nice purple layer. So I'll be doing that next. So when mixing the resin, you want to make sure you have equal amounts of your A and B. So what I do is I use 2 little cups like that, which I got from eating some yogurt, and then I put them into, I'll mix them together in this container, and then apply them to the different molds. So it's just important to have your A and B mix equal parts, otherwise you'll have a weepy resin. Also mix it very thoroughly. very consistently and a long time. The longer you mix it, the more consistently it will be combined. There's a layer of amethyst with some more coils preparing for the next. Alright, so here is the coaster, and I added the black powder, the black night powder to it with all those ingredients from the earlier video. I'm going to hit this with a lighter to eliminate some of the bubbles. A lighter helps doing that. So here's the progress with the second application, and what I've got is I applied the clear, another layer of clear, which probably had some other things in it from the last batch that I added dark to. I added some of the dark night to it. So I added clear with amethyst, and before I did that, there was on top of the first layer, before I added this layer, I put turquoise and some more of the brass key shavings into that, and I'm going to add some more brass key shavings on top of this layer. I also added the Tree of Life and the moon and star emblems at this point. And every time I add the resin, I pour it over top of the centerpiece of quartz, the capstone, so that when I add other things, it attaches to it. So I started to put some more material into, added some resinated material into the bangles. See how they come out. So now I'm going to add a little bit more of the brass key shavings on top of this to get that effect into these guys, and we'll keep on going from there. Thank you. Here we have now diatomaceous earth, shungite, and some quartz particles in this next layer, preparing to get combined with the resin. So what we have here is on top of the second layer with all the amethyst, I added a bunch more little pieces of amethyst, little bitty pieces, but then I put a little layer of diatomaceous earth, a chunk of shungite, and a bunch of little quartz crystals, some points and some fragments in each one of these. So each one of these has that layer of diatomaceous earth, which has high concentration of noble elements, gold, silver, platinum, things like that, highly energetic and nutritious as well. It's an edible thing, a good mineral supplement for the human body. So then once I have this layer a little bit more cured, I'm going to start adding the Black Knight formulation to the mix, along with a glow in the dark powder, Art and Glow natural aqua glow powder. So that'll have a bit of a greenish glow hue to it. Hopefully that will come out as an interesting effect. So the fuller they get, the little ones will get filled up quicker, and then these larger ones will take a few more applications. So if you look closely, all those little specks that are flickering are actually the little bubbles that are popping on the surface. What an interesting effect as it cures. Alright, so here we have our completed project, completed pyramids, bangles, and coaster. So what you see here on top of these is all those bubbles. So I'm going to torch them and give a little demonstration about how that goes. Give me a moment. We just hit the bubbles and they burst. And it just gives a clearer product. We want to have everything as nice as possible. It gives a denser product, a denser pyramid. Every time a bubble pops, it gives the liquid and materials an opportunity to occupy that space. And when the materials are all pushed together to the best of their ability, then they're more functional that way. They're conducting their piezoelectric energies. So that's much nicer. There's that. Okay. Alright, so here we have our pieces, our pyramids and bangles, and the plate being charged with a UV Tesla Tech device and a far infrared heat lamp. And I believe I'm going to do this for approximately a week. I'm going to go for either 6 or 9 days. In the daytime, not overnight. I'm going to do it only in the daytime while I'm conscious and awake. And so now the way I have these set up, each and every one of these is receiving a bit of an electrical charge. You can hear that. So everybody's got electricity going through it, the energy. And we'll see how that turns out. Thank you. So it's December 3rd, and I have 2 more days to go before I finish the charging process. This is how I have these guys set up so that they're all touching one another. And if you can hear that. You can see some of it. Here we have my 5 latest Orgone pyramids sitting in the sun, charging to get a image of what they look like in the dark with the glow in the dark aspect. This is the end of the process. I end the charging process with the infrared light and the Tesla Tech energy device. I forget what it's called right at this moment. It's still kind of new in my world. Each one of these pyramids is capped. Is a gold capped pyramid. Gold capstone in a way, as much as I could. And I'll make more, and then I'll be able to set them up like the pyramids of Giza once I have enough of these guys. Because you got 2 large and a small, like in Giza, and then you need 3 small ones and 3 small ones. 2 large and a medium, I mean. And then 3 small and 3 small at the other end. So in the Giza Plateau, there's actually 9 pyramids in total at the main pyramid complex that everyone's familiar with in the world. Here we have the pyramids that have the glow-in-the-dark part. I just had them sitting in the sun in the Bangles. So thanks for joining me. I hope you all enjoyed that video. I had fun making it. And please join me again next time.